of our spiritual master. The only way we should attain pure devotion is never bow down to his lotus feet with your own reverence. By his grace,
refrigerated. Where's my mridanga player? Okay. And we'll need the board for Sri Nam Kirtan. You want to take the board out? Sri Nam Kirtan? Yeah. Yasumati Nandana? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a favorite song of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. When he was departing the world, he had this song sung. So it's a beautiful song. It's a bhajan by glorifying the names of Krishna. Each of these names denote a particular quality and characteristic of Lord Sri Krishna. Yasomati Nandana Braja Badanagara Gokula Ranjana Kahana Yasomati Nandana Braja Badanagara Gokula Ranjana Kahana. Gopi Paranandanam Madhano Manohari Gopi Paranandanam Madhano Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidhana Kali Kaliya Damana Vidhana Hamala Harinam Hamiya Vilasaham Hamhala Harinam Hamiya Vilasaham Vipina Purandaran Harinanaghara Bhara Vamsi Vadhasu Vahasahi Vamsi Vadhasu Hey! Bhajajana Phalana Surakulana Sanham Bhajajana Phalana Surakulana Sanham Handa Gurana Rakuhala Handa Gurana Rakuhala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Sundharananda Kupaharin Sundharananda Gopala Hey Jamuna Tatjara Gopi Prasannohara Jamuna Tatjara Gopi Prasannohara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Hey! Shri Radha Vrindavan and Bhaktavara Radha Vrindavan Shri Radha Vrindavan and Bhaktavara Bhakti Vinodasraya Srila Bhakti Vinodasraya Hey Hasomati Nandana Bhajavaran Hagara Kokula Vihara Hey Hamala Harinam Hamiya Vilasaham Gajajana Phalana Surakulana Sanham Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natta Bharatiya. Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natta Bharatiya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Bolo Mam Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Govinda Madhava, Navanita Taskata, Govindam. Jamuna Tata Chara, Gopi Vasanohara. Hey, Krishna. Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natta Bharatiya. Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natta Bharatiya. Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Hari Bho. Nitai Gaura, Hari Bho, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Nitam. Hey, Jaya Kishore Kishore, Kishore Kishore Jaya, Kishore Kishore Jaya, Kishore Kishore Kishore. Yep. Hi Kishore Kishore, Kishore Kishore, Kishore Kishore Jaya. Kishore Kishore Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Hey, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Yasomati Nandana Braja Baranagara Gokula Ranjana. Khan. When Krishna was a little boy, his mother would call, Kanai, hey Kanai. Kana, come, take lunch. No, mother, I'm playing, no time for lunch. Krishna always wanted to play. He always forgot to eat. So what happened was, in order to get Krishna to eat, they had Purnamasi, who was she's the CEO of Vrindavan. She arranges all of Krishna's leelas. She would send a demon. And then a demon would come, and then Krishna would kill the demon, and then Krishna would get hungry right after that. So it's the only way you can get him to eat. Otherwise, he just wanted to play all the time. Life is about playing. It's not about working. It's this idea of working. This is like for people who have nothing, no intelligence. Life is about playing. You play now with Krishna, then you can play with Krishna in the spiritual world. What's this going to work? That's what donkeys do, right? Donkeys work. I work for some piece of paper, and I feel good because I get a piece of paper that says, you got this much paper. put it in your bank and we keep it. The donkey philosophy. Prabhupada talks about the donkey, he just like, he's walking along. And the washerman wants to get a load, move from one place to another, so he puts it on the donkey's back, and he puts a carrot in front of the donkey. And the donkey's thinking, just one more step, I'll get that carrot. He keeps going and going until he carries the load where the washerman wants, then he unloads it, and he eats the carrot, doesn't give it to the donkey. The donkey's so stupid because he doesn't realize that there's grass everywhere. All he has to do is stop and eat the grass. But he's so stupid he thinks I have to work to get the grass. So this is working in the material world. If you just serve Krishna, you don't have to work. If we just give our life to Krishna and serve Krishna, then Krishna takes care of you. There's that story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, hey, Srivas, you got a big family and you don't work. How do you live? How do you eat? Srivas went like this. He went. That was his answer. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what does that mean? And Srivas responded, one day Krishna doesn't feed me. 2 days he doesn't feed me and my family. And 3 days, if he neglects us, I jump in the river Ganga and I drown myself. When Lord Chaitanya heard that, he shook the universe with his roar. He roared so loudly, just out of pleasure. He said, Srivas, even if Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, has to go with a begging bowl from door to door to live, there will always be food in your home. What was he saying? You have full faith in Krishna. Therefore, Krishna will take care of you. So I tell that, and then I say to everyone, well, you sure? No, don't quit your job unless you have that faith. But if you have the faith, it works. But if you don't have that faith, get it. Because ultimately, we didn't come into the world, this promise is we come into this world just to pass stool and urine. That's all we do here. And then we die. And so, there's a few other things in between, but that's just on the same level as stool and urine, so it's not much different anyway. This material world is just a big, it's just a charade. It's just arranged so you can just be a fool and then you die. That's all. And Krishna says, come back to me. No. Prabhupada tells the story of Indra. Indra committed some offense, so he had to leave his post in the heavenly planets, and he came to the material world and he had to take birth as a pig. And so he's now a pig, and he's got a piggy wife and some piglets. So, and he's got his nice mud, first class stool. And so he's living really, high on the hog, as they say. So he's living like that, and then there's trouble in the heavenly planets. So Brahma was consulted. Nobody can solve this but Indra. Okay, let's get Indra back. But he's in the material world as a pig. Well, let's see if we can get him out. And so Brahman comes to Indra and says, Mr. Pig Indra, we need you in the heavenly planets. There's a lot of problems there. Nobody can solve it. He said, how can I go? I got my piggy wife, oink, 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 and I got my kids, oink, 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 oink. And I got my nice mud, best mud, and stool, the best stuff. I'm not going. So Brahma thinks, well, we got to do something to get him back there. So they decide to decrease his family. So his family's being taken away from him, and then, Indra, are you ready yet? All right. So he finally surrenders. So this is material life. We get attached to so many things in this world. And anyway, the idea is to get attached to Krishna. And that's not hard, because Krishna is easy to get attached to. In this world, you really have to work hard to get attached to something. You have to actually make believe it's not what it is. Because it's not really as good as you think it is. You just have to create this idea. It's nice, but it really isn't. Otherwise, you can't get attached. It's like on married day. You know, you get married, and then all of a sudden, the first day you wake up and you see your wife, you say, "Who are you?" "I'm your wife." "Really? Oh my God, what happened?" Sorry about that one. It's a whole different thing. What happened to you? Oh, you know, this was part of the program. It's planned like that. Married life, okay. Okay, so we can get married to Krishna. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. It's described that in the material world, whatever you gain, you lose. And in the spiritual world, whatever you gain stays with you eternally. Nothing, you never lose any of it. So why work hard for something you're going to lose? Work for Krishna. That way you don't have nothing to lose, you only have something to gain. Indra couldn't get it. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Is that on the board? Yeah? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is 10th Canto, 5th chapter, verses 1 and 2, the meeting of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. So now we're changing the whole theme of the Bhagavatam. Sri Sukha Uvacha Nandastwamaja Utpane Jatyalado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipraveda Gyan Snata Suchir Alankritaha. Sri Sukha Uvacha Nandastwamaja Utpane Jatalado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipaveda Gyan Snata Suchir Alankritaha. Sri Sukha Uvacha Nandastwamaja Utpane Jatalado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipraveda Gyan Snata Suchir Alankritaha. ladies. Mm-hmm. Sri Sukha Uvacha, Sri Sukadev Goswami said, Nanda Maharaj, indeed, Atmajay, his son, Utpane, having been born, Jata, overwhelmed, Alada, in great jubilation, Mahamanaha, who was great-minded, Ahuya, invited, Vipran, the Brahmanas, Veda Gyan, who were fully conversant in Vedic knowledge, Snata, taking a full bath, Suchi, purifying himself, Alankrita, being dressed very nicely with ornaments and fresh garments. Vajayatva, after causing to be recited, Swasti Ayanam, Vedic mantras by the Brahmanas, Jata Karma, the festival for the birth of the child, Atmajasya, of his own son, Vai, indeed, Karyan Asa, caused to be performed, Vidivat, according to Vedic regulations, Pratir Deva Archanam, the worship of the forefathers and the demigods. Tatha, as well as. Okay, we're going to hear about the birth ceremony of Krishna. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, Nanda Maharaj was naturally very magnanimous, and when Lord Sri Krishna appeared at his son, he was overwhelmed by jubilation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmanas who knew how to recite Vedic mantras. After having these qualified Brahmanas recite auspicious Vedic hymns, he arranged to have the Vedic birth ceremony celebrated for his newborn child, according to the rules and regulations, for he also arranged for worship of the demigods and forefathers. Srila Prabhupada's purport. There's a lot of commentary on this purport, so please listen up. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has discussed the significance of the word Nanda's two. The word two, he says, is not used to fulfill the sentence, because without two the sentence is complete. Therefore, the word tu is used for a different purpose. Although Krishna appeared as the son of Devaki, Devaki and Vasudeva did not enjoy the Jata Karma, the festival of the birth ceremony. Instead, this ceremony was enjoyed by Nanda Maharaj, as stated here. Nandastu atmaja upane jataladu mahamanaha. When Nanda Maharaj met Vasudeva, Vasudeva could not disclose, "Your son Krishna is actually my son. You are his father in a different way, spiritually." Because of fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva could not observe the festival of Krishna's birth. Nanda Maharaj, however, took full advantage of this opportunity. The Jata Karma ceremony can take place when the umbilical cord connecting the child to the placenta is cut. However, since Krishna was brought by Vasudeva to the house of Nanda Maharaj, where was the chance for this to happen? In this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur desires to prove with evidence from many shastras that Krishna actually took birth as the son of Yasoda before the birth of Yogamaya, who is therefore described as Lord Krishna's younger sister. Even though there were many doubts about cutting the umbilical cord, and even though it was possible that this was not done when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, such events are regarded as factual. Krishna appeared as Varaha from the nostril of Brahma, and therefore Brahma is described as the father of Varahadev. Also significant are the words Karyam Asad Viddivat. Being overwhelmed with jubilation over the birth of his son, Nanda Maharaj did not see whether the cord was cut or not. Thus he performed the ceremony very gorgeously. According to the opinion of some authorities, Krishna was actually born as the son of Yasoda. In any case, without regard for material understandings, we can accept that Nanda Maharaj's celebration for the ceremony of Krishna's birth was proper. This ceremony is therefore well known everywhere as Nandotsava. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyana Jana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kudammayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namene Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Pastyatya Satarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavind Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let's see. Janma karma chime divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tattva deha purna janma naitima eti sorjuna. When Prabhupada was asked by Brahmananda, one of the first disciples, Prabhupada, what is the most important verse in the Bhagavad Gita? And Prabhupada recited this verse, Janma karma chime divyam, because it really is the goal of the Bhagavad Gita. And what is that goal? It says that one who knows, Krishna speaking, Krishna says, one who knows one who understands the mystery of my birth and appearance in this world and my activities does not, upon leaving this body, again take birth in the material world, but attains to my abode. O son of Kunti, speaking to Arjuna. So to know, that means to understand fully, that Krishna's birth is divyam, or transcendental. Although there are many elements of Krishna's appearance that look quite ordinary, here we see something that kind of gives the Divyam principle some emphasis, and that is the cutting of the umbilical cord, which is part of the ceremony which separates the mother from the child upon the birth. This is done everywhere. But there was no ceremony done for Krishna. Vasudeva could not do that ceremony because he was in jail and not wanting to call attention to Kamsa about the birth of his son, who was Krishna. He pushed back, or he avoided all the different ceremonies for the appearance of the child. But Nanda Maharaj wasn't. Of course, we know the story. Vasudeva, by the arrangement of Yogamaya, took Krishna out of the jail cell and brought him to Vrindavan. Now, Mother Yasoda had already had a child, but because of her being unconscious or asleep at childbirth, she didn't really know what the baby was. And so she was thinking it was a girl, but it was actually both a boy and a girl. She had twins, but she only thought she had one. So Krishna appeared simultaneously. This is mentioned later on in this 10th canto. In two places. He appeared as the son of Vasudeva, as Vaikuntha Krishna, and he appeared by Vrindavan Krishna as the son of Yasoda. So Krishna was already born as the son of Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, but when Vasudeva came to take the child, we read how he brought the child and exchanged it for the girl, and took the girl back to the jail cell, which was Yogamaya. We don't hear how there was another baby there, but no one could see it. Krishna appeared, but he was unmanifest. And when Vasudeva put Vaikuntha Krishna down near Yasoda, she was still sleeping, the two Krishnas merged into one. And that's why it says that Vaikuntha Krishna and Vrindavan Krishna, when Krishna left, we saw that picture yesterday, how the Gopis are trying to stop Krishna from leaving Vrindavan. But who left Vrindavan was Vaikuntha Krishna to kill demons, and Vrindavan Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He stays there. But he remains unmanifested. He takes shelter in the hearts of his pure devotees, and they can experience him through the mood of separation. Although he apparently is not physically there, he's there in his unmanifested form as Vrindavan Krishna, in the mood of separation. So here it mentions how Krishna appeared as both the son of Nanda Maharaj. Vasudeva is thinking, I'm not so fortunate. You have the opportunity to... He's my son. Vasudeva is thinking, he's my son. He was born as the son of my wife, Devaki, in the jail. But you are so fortunate. Because of Kamsa, I am not able to keep him, nor am I able to have any ceremony related to his birth. So they're together. So there's a meeting. And you'll see as the chapter goes on how they discuss, how Nanda Maharaj was Vasudeva was telling Nanda Maharaj, now Nanda Maharaj, it's nice you've come to see me, and we're friends. They were cousin brothers. But you should get back to Vrindavan as fast as you can, because there's always going to be trouble with this new child of yours. And Kamsa was already sending some of his, messengers there to try to kill Krishna, which is not possible. And so it's a nice exchange. This is one of the most sweetest chapters in this section here, the loving exchange between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. Vasudeva's heart is somewhat feeling unhappy, but at the same time happy. He's happy for Nanda, but he's unhappy for himself because he didn't get the chance to raise Krishna. Later on, when they all meet at Kurukshetra, Krishna shows his affection for Vasudeva and Devaki. And it's really a pitiable situation and how they were overwhelmed with feelings of separation. And after seeing Krishna after all these years, Krishna did whatever he could to somehow or other not apologize, but say, my dear father, you took care of me so nicely, I'm your son, but you never got the chance to be my father. So it's quite sweet. It's actually really sweet. And this is Krishna. Krishna, he attaches himself to someone and then he leaves. This is bhakti. Bhakti is like that. You can't catch Krishna. It's not possible. The whole process of devotional service is running after Krishna. That is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's Vipralambha Bhav. Sometimes you get him, but he stays for a few seconds and then he leaves again. That's Krishna. Why does he do that? Just to increase your love for him, like that. So the whole process of devotional service is hankering to somehow meet Krishna through the process of executing devotion to Krishna, through service, through chanting, through offering prayers, wanting to come in contact with Krishna. But the mood in bhakti, and the mood taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is always the mood of longing for Krishna, praying for Krishna, striving to get Krishna. I mean, if we're not strong in that faith, we might give up. Oh, I can't get Krishna. But our whole life is chasing Krishna. And he comes once in a while and says, here I am. And you feel so happy, and then he leaves again. And then you feel unhappy again. So this is the whole process of bhakti, like that. So never get discouraged. It's all about running after Krishna your whole life. Trying to get that. Because he likes to increase the bhakti of his devotees by having that devotee hanker for him more and more, pray for him and feel that mood. But love in separation is higher than love in meeting, because the gopis, when Krishna's there and they're with Krishna, they can't feel the happiness of being with Krishna. Why? Because they're thinking he's going to leave soon. That's their feeling. Their hearts are happy because he's there, but there's another feeling that comes along with that happiness, is that he's going to leave soon. So that overwhelms their happiness and they feel unhappy. So, but for Vipralambha Bhav, the mood is that the longing, just like one of the gopis, when Krishna played his flute, and called all the gopis to come down to Vamsivad, to dance in the rasa dance. They were with their children, they were with their husbands, they were doing various chores. All of them left, except one or two. I think one's mentioned. She couldn't go because her husband wouldn't let her go. But she went to Krishna with her heart. And with her heart, she was feeling the presence of Krishna, and that separation was so strong, she left her body, hankering for the presence of Krishna like that. So, and Krishna reciprocated that. He's reciprocated that mood of separation. So it is explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Acharyas that the mood of separation is actually more intense in its loving relationship with Krishna than the mood of meeting, because it's a longing. Just like even in this world you might see that. If there's a husband and a wife that are very close to each other, they become separated due to a certain situation, and they're always thinking, when will they meet again? So that love that's there is not as much appreciated as much as it is when you're not with the person you love. Just like I go in and out of airports all the time. And a lot of times I see people, they're meeting their friends and their loved ones, right? And the initial contact when they meet is so enthusiastic. They embrace and they're laughing and they're feeling so happy. But after a few minutes, it's over. And then they complain, oh no, well, I don't know what to do. But anyway, the point is that this separation causes the heart to long for that meeting. And when that meeting comes, it becomes the ecstasy of happiness. But then when that meeting stays a little while, the mood changes, and then one thinks, uh-oh, separation's going to come again, and then what we going to do? The only problem in the material world when we have these things is that if separation stays too long, or beyond a person's patience or expectations, people tend to lose attachment for that personality. And then what happens? They try to find something else, some other person to fulfill that need like that. But not in the spiritual world. The Gopis would rather die than be without, to do something else than to think of Krishna. They can't have anyone but Krishna. It has to be Krishna, even if Krishna doesn't reciprocate their love. We have that verse in, what is that last verse in Shikshasha? Aslisyapa pinaratam punastumam adarshanam marmahatam karotu va yata tata va viradatu lampato matpranam astu sa eva naparaha. The Acharyas say that this verse is love in meeting. And the verse before, what is that verse? Yugayitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahenam. This is the mood of love in separation, longing that one moment without you seems like 12 years. It's just like, you know how time works? Time works like that. When you're happy and you're doing things, what is the pace of time? What is the pace of time? Pace, P-A-C-E. Fast. When you're unhappy, what is the pace of time? Slow. And when you're waiting, stops. Time stops when you're waiting. And time is a concept, a conception of the mind. It's not something you wear on your wrist. It's not that watch. So the relativity nature of time is like that. So when one is longing for Krishna, time seems to be eternal like that. But there's a higher principle that even amalgamates all these concepts of time, is that when you love, time is eternal. And time is lost in the mood of love. And so there's no more slow, fast, or anything. It just becomes eternal. It seems to be eternal, although it's not. Because in love, everything is there. So loving Krishna is all about what Bhagavatam is, trying to get us attached to hearing about Krishna more and more, and getting attached to want to love Krishna and serve Krishna. And we hear how it becomes difficult. It's because it says love of God is like 4 very sweet ingredients. I think it's mentioned sugar cane and camphor and saffron and one more. And then there's one ingredient that's not sweet. It's called black pepper. That's the 5th ingredient. So love of God also burns a little bit. It's got a chili taste to it. So it's kind of simultaneously sweet and also very, very hot. So no one should ever get discouraged in our devotional service. Krishna is always inviting us to become more and more attached to him in different ways. So he wants us to get attached to him more than we want to get attached to him. So he does so many things in this life. What are the things he does in our life? He takes away our material attachments so we can't enjoy them anymore. And sometimes when we're so attached to material things, he gives us some suffering, just to help us become more and more detached from those things that are causing us suffering like that. So that's Krishna. Krishna's, people say, well, Krishna's, you know, he doesn't really care. He doesn't really do anything. You have to do everything. He's doing everything. We just have to reciprocate with him. And it's easy, as the Bhagavad Gita says, Patram pushram phalam tvayam yome bhakti panasyati. When we offer whatever we have in service to Krishna, as an offering to Krishna with devotion, Prabhupada said it's easy. My Lord, I don't have anything, but I have this little object and I want to offer you, please accept it. That's love. Not like, I'm so rich, I got so much money, and Krishna, you can have $100, I keep the other $1 million, but you can have some of it. So yeah, the mood is that Krishna doesn't really need anything that we have, but he appears to be needy. He puts himself in a needy position. Why? Just so we can offer something to Krishna like that. So that's why it seems like, you know, Prabhupada would say, Krishna, he's always saying, you know, surrender more, give more, do this, you know, like he's asking more and more and more. Prabhupada said he's greedy. He's a greedy God. He just wants more and more and more. But it's not because of he wants it, because he knows this is what it takes for us to become more and more attached to him. To take away whatever we have that is keeping us from surrendering to him. And there's so many things. Take a little inventory. What in my life that is keeping me attached in this world that I can't surrender to Krishna more and more? Whatever it is, look at it and see if you actually need it. Or if you can somehow or other plan to get rid of it. Like that. So, but there is a better formula, is that just hear about Krishna more and more. Because when we hear about Krishna more and more, we get attached to Krishna. Because Krishna is all attractive like that. So we're hearing about Krishna, and we're also hearing about Srila Prabhupada. Is there any difference? No. Actually, there's no difference to hear about Krishna and to hear about Prabhupada, because Prabhupada's whole life is based on giving Krishna to everyone. So in one sense, Krishna and Prabhupada are non-different in the principle of devotion to the Supreme Lord, and therefore to hear about Prabhupada means to hear about Krishna. And actually it's even higher to hear about Prabhupada, because Krishna likes to, when you glorify and hear about Prabhupada, more than when you glorify and hear about him. So there's an extra element of mercy that comes by attaching ourselves to the great souls such as Srila Prabhupada, like that. That's why Krishna says, one who says he's my devotee is not my devotee, but one who's a devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. To become a devotee of Prabhupada means to follow the instructions of Prabhupada. It's not just some sentiment where we just say, oh Prabhupada, you're so wonderful, and then we leave it at that. It's all about learning his instructions, learning our relationship with those instructions, actually executing the instructions, and becoming an intimate associate of Srila Prabhupada by helping him in his mission to spread Krishna consciousness. This is the actual connection with the spiritual master incomplete. As Prabhupada told us, if you want to love me, or show your love for me, you cooperate. And when he said it twice, and the second time he said it, is by keeping this mission together. He also said one other thing. He said, even if you can't expand it, don't destroy what I created. In other words, somehow or other preserve what I have. But he wanted more than that. He was just making some concessional statement. He wanted us to expand this movement more and more. And the connection with the spiritual master comes with following what he came for. He came to spread Krishna consciousness, so when we assist him doing that, we actually live with Prabhupada completely and fully. As he said to us, do what I'm doing. But it's not that we can do what he's doing, but we can do the activities he's doing and not on the same scale. So, to glorify Krishna, the best way is to glorify his pure devotee. But we want to do both, because Krishna's sweet, and he's also attractive. And if you want to please Prabhupada, love Krishna, and become attached to Krishna. And if you want to please Krishna, love Prabhupada. So that is love. Just like they say, when you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and if you think of Krishna when you say Hare, that's high. That's higher than thinking of Radharani. And when you think of Radharani when you say Krishna, that's higher than thinking of Krishna. Why? Because the love between them is so strong that when you glorify the other person, you please the other person more than when you glorify that person. So when you say Hare Krishna, you're actually saying Krishna Radharani. You're thinking like that. If you could do that, I mean, it's not so easy. But in other words, love works in such a way that the beloved becomes the object of my happiness. So when you glorify those that I love, you're actually doing the best service for me. Like that. That's the principle. So that works also with the spiritual master, especially with Srila Prabhupada, who was very dear to Krishna. Prabhupada never wanted any glory for himself. He always wanted to glorify Krishna. And after Prabhupada left, and even during the time he was here, but mostly when he left, Krishna set out a real plan to glorify Prabhupada. Now we're finding more and more about the glories of Srila Prabhupada. As much more than we knew when he was here. Why? Because he was always busy glorifying Krishna. And he kept telling us that's what we should be doing also. Now that he's disappeared, now Krishna is arranging through his devotees to glorify Prabhupada more and more. And he's becoming, actually Prabhupada's becoming more and more known throughout the world in different circles now. You know, do a little research, you'll find that his books and his words are being spread in many, many different areas now, like that, his teachings. So, and this is the whole process. Okay, so I didn't want to speak too long today. Any questions or comments? Yes, Sureshwar Prabhu.
Yeah, this whole you really deepened my understanding of Janma Karma Chamedavyam, because in the Krishna book, Prabhupada doesn't really go into the intricacies of that whole switch too much. It kind of remains a mystery even after you read that summary study. So Prabhupada does go deeper. I just wanted to see if I got this right. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this is Prabhupada's purport, desires to prove with evidence from many shastras that Krishna actually took birth as the son of Jashoda before the birth of Yogamaya, who was therefore described as the Lord's younger sister. Okay, so I think you said at one point that that Jashoda had twins?
Yeah, a girl and Krishna.
Okay, so that's what you meant.
Yeah.
That Krishna came out first. He must have come out first because... Well, no, Krishna came out last.
No, it can't be because she was
No, she came out, yeah. So Krishna came out first. Yeah. So technically, she's younger because she was behind him.
Yeah, that's why she's referred to as younger sister.
Okay, so I never even knew that. Is that?
It's in the Bhagavatam.
Huh?
It's in the 10th canto.
It's in the that's the way it worked. Yeah, I could never sort through that birth.
And when Vasudeva put Krishna down, the Vaikuntha Krishna, the two Krishnas merged into one.
That was back in the prison?
No, it's back when he placed the baby next to Yasoda and took the girl, and then the two Krishnas became one.
Yeah, later when he came back to the prison, right? Or I mean,
he couldn't see that. No one could see it, actually. Krishna was in the unmanifested form when he appeared. But he appeared. That's why there's some controversy on where he actually appeared and to whom he appeared.
yeah, and Prabhupada just leaves it kind of open there.
Yeah. But it's, let me think, it's in one of these upcoming chapters, it's also mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Janma karma te me divyam. So I've got a long way to go. But
well, it's not just theoretical.
Yeah.
You have to actually realize.
Yeah, right.
It's a realization, yeah.
Yeah. And here's another thing I found about everything in the spiritual world has its reflection here. So you mentioned this about people. So I looked up the old phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
So it says, a new study finds truth in the age-old adage, absence makes the heart grow fonder, suggesting that individuals in long-distance relationships experience more intimacy with their significant others than those who are together daily.
Yeah. Familiarity breeds indifference. Familiarity breeds
contempt. Yeah.
But indifference also.
Yeah. So, but it's different. I mean, so the pure form of that is just like what you described. Even so, when you're anticipating meeting Krishna, that's a higher ecstasy.
Yeah, but that longing is the principle of bhakti. It develops through the different stages of bhakti. If we follow the process, then that naturally manifests as we execute our devotional service. So then one becomes attached to Krishna, and then one longs for Krishna.
It's extraordinary, actually, how, you know, when Prabhupada was instructing George Harrison, and then later George wrote that song, My Sweet Lord, that's the mood he's expressing.
It's really, that was such a powerful expression of his bhakti.
Yeah. He really got it, you know. And then when you're with Krishna, like you said, then it's overwhelmed by the anxiety of not being with him soon, because he's going to leave.
Yeah, that's what the Gopis are feeling like that. But that's an element of love also.
Yeah.
Like that. Again, another example on the material platform is just like if you know someone and you're a friend and maybe even a loved one, and then they die. Sometimes you lament that you didn't really appreciate that person when they were here. It comes after the fact. Or you didn't take advantage of their association enough.
Yeah.
We also experience that when one of our devotees leave.
Yeah.
We feel like that. So that's after the fact. So yeah, so this is the separation always brings the heart closer to the person.
Thank you.
Akhilesh?
Yes.
Okay.
So after Krishna left Vrindavan, so did those two Krishnas defuse? Because during Mahabharata, Krishna meets Radharani and the other gopis again, and they say that you're not the same person anymore.
The question is, when Krishna returns to Vrindavan after being away?
Yeah.
And then, well, Krishna came back 3 times, different times. Well, yeah, but their love doesn't change. They're saying, you know, now you're a little less villagey, you're more worldly. You've been hanging around with those girls from Mathura. City girls. He lost his innocence. Yeah, it's like that. So, you know, part of the loving relationship between Krishna and the Gopis is they criticize each other. If you really want to keep marriage together, you need to do that. Not in a mean-spirited way, but in a joking way. You keep the marriage together, you just joke about each other's faults, and it's fun. Because if you do it seriously, it might cause you to break up. But if you do it in a joking way, then you can somehow or other reflect on the relationship that it's actually not so bad. Yeah, it's in the Bhagavatam too. It says that the happiness in married life is to exchange joking words between husband and wife. And that's mentioned in the story with Rukmini and Krishna. So if you're actually looking for material happiness in married life, you got to joke with your wife. But not with another lady, just with you. Yeah, I'm not just joking, I'm saying this is an actual reality. It keeps things moving in a nice direction. Yeah.
This was confirmed to me yesterday after I taught the afternoon session, and then Mataji called me into her office, and Prabhuji was there. And after she expressed what she wanted to express, then I started asking her about their marriage. And she said, this is what we do.
We joke.
We joke, but it's kind of like a mock fight.
Yeah, that's the best part of marriage.
And she credited that with being together for, I think, 29 years or something.
29 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a mock fight, but it's got some humor in there.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting.
Yeah, keeps things moving. Yeah, try it. Krishna does it all the time. The gopis say, Krishna, you're just a fool because you hang with the buffoon cowherd boys and you always talk nonsense. Yeah, and Radharani says, and Lalita said that to Krishna. You're a buffoon because you're always associating with those cowherd boys and you guys always talk nonsense. That's all you do. Because when Krishna's with the cowherd boys, they do all kinds of nonsense. It's like, some of it doesn't even make sense. But they have fun. Yeah, no sense. Yeah. Yes. If you try it in the material world, it has a little bit of element of upliftment, but it doesn't last. That's why you have to do it in the spiritual world, because that's where it has ras, it has substance. Because it's Krishna's there. Yeah, so that point, Aki, you made, you know, the gopis sometimes they criticize Krishna. But that's part of the loving relationship, that's all. There's not a bit of mean spirit in that criticism. And it's always done just to enhance the loving moods, that's all. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You were speaking about the gopis' loyalty to Krishna, and sometimes we are like even encouraged that, you know, when our needs are not met, then to try and find that at some place else, especially when it is not working. But how do we like keep our loyalty, like
materially? I mean, how to have a happy marriage here? It's not possible.
I'm talking more about.
kind of work on it and try to get it as best as you can, but that's all you can do. Don't look for perfection in this world. It's just not there. You just have to do your best. The only way you can somehow last in married life in this world is become Krishna conscious. That's the only solution. Yeah.
Maharaj, even towards, like I was thinking more towards Prabhupada and towards ISKCON, because I remember one of the instances that Sureshwara Prabhu was sharing, that one Mataji did a lot of research about Prabhupada, but she didn't feel that she was, her work was accepted and appreciated, and she turned away. So, like that.
Well, we might say that's unfortunate that it wasn't accepted and appreciated. But we might say from one, maybe there was some lack on that side that they didn't really take time to appreciate, but from her point of view, she might have been looking for appreciation. Actually, if you're looking for appreciation and you don't get it, that's what causes you to become less enthusiastic or even go away. But when you're not looking for appreciation and you don't get it, there's no loss. That's why Nadan, what is that verse? Shrnadapi sunichena dayori vasi amani na mamana dena. So Lord Chaitanya teaches us we shouldn't be looking to be appreciated. We should be looking to appreciate, to give respects to others and not looking for respect for ourselves. When everyone is doing that, then that's heaven. Everyone should appreciate each other, but no one should be looking for appreciation for themselves. That's Krishna consciousness. That's Krishna consciousness. Sachinandana Maharaj tells a little story of the difference between heaven and hell. It's a nice story. One man, he's talking to St. Peter, and he wants to know what's the difference between heaven and hell. St. Peter says, I'll take you to hell first. And so he takes him to hell, and it's lunchtime, and so everyone sits around a round table, and all the food's in the middle. And everyone is sitting a distance from the food, and they got a long fork. And so and when the bell rings, it's time for everyone to begin eating. So when they begin eating, they take their long fork and try to get the food in the middle of the table. When they try to do it, it just falls, and they just keep hitting each other's forks, and then no one can eat, and everybody's getting upset. So then he says, all right, now teach me what is heaven. So he goes to heaven, same situation. There's food in the middle of the table. Everybody's got long forks, and everyone's sitting around the table. And then when the bell rings, everyone takes the fork and feeds the person across the way. And that way everybody eats. Like that. So that's the difference between spiritual consciousness and material consciousness. It's a nice little story.
Hare Krishna Dasi. The reason Hare Krishna Dasi took some distance from ISKCON is not so much that she wanted appreciation, she wanted action.
Yeah.
And she could see that she could do more good, perhaps in another organization in terms of getting ox power and cow protection going than in ISKCON at that time.
She did it through her son.
She did it through her son with this Working Villages International.
It's actually acclaimed. Yeah, it's in the Congo, right?
Yeah, it's Tanganyika.
I met him.
You went there?
I met him.
Okay.
He was telling me about the project.
Yeah, that's great. So that was really the essence of it. That she just felt, that these people, they're just not serious. They're not ready. And she's serious.
Yeah.
So she passed that spirit on to her son who did something.
Yeah, we don't fault her for, sometimes you feel like that, and you want to get things moving, so you have to do it yourself.
Yep.
Another question? Anyone else? Yes.
Maharaj, I feel this science about Krishna's birth and Krishna's activities can be understood only in the association of devotees, because some people can claim that they have read the Bhagavad Gita and they have understood, but I was just visiting a gentleman when I was in India, and he was saying, look, everybody has to suffer who does not go through suffering. Like even Krishna was born in a prison, he had to suffer. So, and some people speak like this, when our karma has to be taken away, Krishna has to suffer for our karma when he takes away our karma. So, like, there are so many misconceptions
About Krishna.
About Krishna, his activities and how he acts outside the circle of devotees.
Well, suffering is part of the material energy. Suffering is not, there's no suffering on the spiritual platform, even for devotees. So how can you say Krishna suffers? That means he's under the influence of the material energy, which he's not. He says, I'm Divyam. He's transcendental. He's not part of this material world. Even when he comes to the material world, he is not touched by the material energy. What is, there's verses that confirm that. Which one? Krishna says, that he, what is it? Avajanti mam muha manushim tananasvatam param bhavam agyanato mama bhuta maheshvara. Fools deride me when I take birth in this material world. They do not know my transcendental nature, my supreme nature, and being transcendental to everything. And then the other one, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samadvitaha Muro Yoga Vijananti. What's the last line? Loka Avajanaya. I'm covered by my curtain of Maya, and therefore one cannot understand my activities. So, therefore, they're looking through the material energy and putting Krishna within that same context. He's not. God is not part of this material energy. He controls it, but he's not affected by it. If he was affected by it, what's the question of being God? That means Maya would be superior to Krishna, which is not. He says, Mama Maya. It's my Maya. So they're ignorant. They don't know the nature of God. They read the Bhagavad Gita and they put Krishna in a position of being a little bit better than them, that's all. But he's not. He's transcendental to everything. Otherwise, how can he be God if he's part of this material energy? Now, therefore, Jiva Goswami says, to understand Krishna means achintya, that it's inconceivable. How do you understand Krishna? Only by devotional service. What is that verse? Bhakya mam avijananti yavanyas tatvitattvataha tato yo tato visite taralantaram. Only by devotional service can I be understood as I am. There's no other way to understand Krishna. He reveals himself through devotional service when the devotee is qualified to receive that knowledge. So, when people try to speculate and guess, they're always wrong. Two ants are talking together and says, you know, there's something up there above us. And the other ant says, no, you're just dreaming, that's all. There's nobody up there. There's a whole world above the ant world, right? And there's a whole world above our world called the demigod world. Prabhupada said the demigods are so powerful that if they want, they can crush you just like you crush an insect. It's not a problem for the demigods. They can just kill you with no problem. Just like you push out, we don't do that, of course, but if you step on an insect, the insect's finished. Demigods can do that with us. We're so small. And so we're going to understand something beyond the demigods with our intelligence, right? That's why we're called Jiva. Jiva means tiny. Jiva means overwhelmed by material nature. Two definitions of Jiva. Tendency to come under the material energy, tendency to be small. Jiva also means forgetful. We forget. So with all those disqualifications, we're going to understand God. God suffers. Prabhupada says the only element of suffering God feels, he feels the suffering of love, where sometimes he feels unhappy because of our suffering. But that's all. And that's compassion. That's not, he's not suffering, he's just feeling, because he loves us, and when he sees that we're suffering and we refuse to take his mercy, there's a kind of element of unhappiness that can be applied to Krishna. But it's not something like it forces him to, become different. So we have to hear from Prabhupada and from the scriptures, what is the nature of God? Can't speculate. God is like this, God is like that, God is like this. So you have to tell them, your ant-like intelligence is not able to reach to the transcendent. Yeah, what's Bhakti Siddhanta's? The materialistic demeanor cannot reach to the transcendental autocrat who is always inviting the conditioned souls. It goes on like that. We're small, but we can serve Krishna and develop our relationship with Krishna, and Krishna reveals himself through that service, through that attitude. That's the process of knowing Krishna through bhakti. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh yeah. Yes, and most important is today at 11 o'clock is lesson number 9, Founder Acharya. Personally, this is one of the most interesting lessons I found out of all of them. It gives us a clear understanding of Prabhupada by explaining what we might think Prabhupada is, but he's not. So it's quite interesting, and it's also, if you like to laugh, it's a little humorous. So, so you'll find this is a very interesting presentation. 11 a.m. here. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.